As a kid, I was basically given two things that was very important, and that is roots and wings. Roots to know where I came from, and I was given wings to fly, to go out and explore the world.
But Майк Хорн became a man in the service of South Africa, fighting a communist insurgents in nearby Angola.
You know, when you're 18 years old in the military and you see a lot of people dying around you, you don't want to be like one of them. I was lucky to come back alive.
Mike returned to Johannesburg, but he wasn't the same. As apartheid slowly unraveled his homeland, Mike impulsively escaped.
He just called one day and said, "Listen, guys, you can have my car, you can have my motorbike, you can have my bicycle. I'm gonna get the hell out of here."
At the airport, standing with a backpack full of clothes was the greatest moment in my life. The moment you step out of your comfort zone. I said, I'll get on the first plane that would take me anywhere in the world where I was allowed to go as a South African.
That plane took him to Switzerland.
Switzerland is quite an expensive country, and nobody really wanted to employ South Africans at that stage. I did not want money. I just wanted a plate of food.
He found work in Chateau d'Ay, a small resort town in the Alps.
He was washing dishes in a old hotel here, you know. And I actually thought he was a Yugoslav or one of the refugees or something like that, you know.
Never seen snow in my life. I would walk up the mountain and try and teach myself to ski down. 3 weeks later, I became a ski instructor, and basically I had a job for winter.
I was running an adventure sports company here, rafting, hydro-speeding, canyoning, everything else.
They were looking for a rafting guide. And I said, well, I can raft, I'll be your rafting guide.
I was working as a balloon pilot, and we used to fly a lot of paragliders along the edge of the mountains there. And we were actually testing them.
Nobody knew how it worked. It was a parachute that you'd run off the mountain and you take off and you fly. And basically, I looked at this and I said, wow, that's freedom.
We did everything. I mean, paragliding, rock climbing, kayaking, jumping off of cliffs, whatever.
In 1991, they went to Peru to paraglide near Machu Picchu. Mike narrowly escaped death when he crashed his glider. He would return several years later and become the first to ride a boogie board down the world's deepest canyon. By 1994, his extreme talents were being featured in commercials. Adventure became a full-time job.
That becomes a way of living. And because I became a little bit older as well, I just decided I cannot go down waterfalls anymore. I cannot jump off mountains. I wanted to live something that really gave me a sense to what life was all about.
The Amazon River stretches more than 4,200 miles across South America.
I wanted to start in the Pacific and then, by human power, go all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. So it's from ocean to ocean.
10 days before he was to leave the Swiss Alps for Peru, he wrecked his car.
He had a 2-inch piece of metal going right through his knee. I'd written him off. I said, you know, you're not going to walk anywhere.
All I wanted to do is go and try. 10 days later, I was at the airport with all my equipment, with my logistic team, and off we went to Peru.
He faced a 400-mile hike into the Andes to reach the source of the Amazon. On his back, he carried his polyurethane boogie board packed with basic survival gear. His team would help document the solo expedition.
And the first 100 meters, I've never seen a guy sweat as much as he did. You could hear the little, every time he took a step.
And the first day, you know, Yeah, I walked about 5 miles.
We strolled next to him. It was a bit of an embarrassment because for us we were fine and he really couldn't keep up with us. Second day, he kept up with us. Third day, we were 20 kilometers behind him, I think, by the end of the day. I actually quit, I think.
8 days later, I crossed the Andes and I met them at the base camp of the source of the Amazon.
The plan was to paraglide down to where he could swim in the water.
I flew from the summit, and then I got into the canyon, and then you go into this point of no return.
The Amazon carries more fresh water to the ocean than the Mississippi, the Nile, and the Yangtze combined.
800 tons of water a second coming down, flowing over these massive boulders.
The violent whitewater eventually found his weakness.
It was banging my knee onto these rocks. I basically broke my knee a second time. Luckily, you know, I had a wetsuit that was quite tight and really kept the joint really compressed.
He was hundreds of miles from civilization.
I had a broken knee. Where do you go? Either you die there or you swim out.
He must have endured terrific pain, and the stamina is remarkable.
He spent more than 4 months in the water, living off the river.
I had a net that I could just put across these little ponds, and while I would sleep, the net would do the fishing.
He learned very young, life and death situations and how to cope with them, because he'd seen it in real life, you know, which most people don't.
After 6 months and 4,000 miles, Mike finally tasted salt water.
The moment I swam into the mouth of the Amazon, I just said, but it's not fair, this is the end. I need to have more. I just said, but, you know, what could I do?
Why are you going on the ocean? You haven't had enough experience.
All you have to do is go across continents, and in between all of that, there's just a bit of water.